this year for the first time we took our caravan on a ferry. Our destination? Ireland. Known for its vibrant history, stunning scenery, warm hospitality and hearty food, we were definitely in for a treat. So come with us on this Irish adventure and make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss any of the upcoming videos in this series. In this video we embark on an epic road trip, taking in the rugged Atlantic beauty of the world-renowned Ring of Kerry.
The Ring of Kerry starts and finishes in Killarney, County Kerry in southwest Ireland. It's a 111-mile route that is a treasure trove of pretty villages, dramatic coastline, stunning scenery, beaches, forts, castles and waterfalls. Beginning in Killarney National Park, you could easily spend a whole day exploring the attractions in this 10,000-acre park, from the impressive Ross Castle, the ruins of Mukross Abbey, to the very popular Torc waterfall. Choosing what to visit and what to miss out was very difficult. At least one day is recommended for driving the route. We planned a 2-day adventure exploring and we were excited to get started.
First up, the very grand and imposing Mukross House.
Built in 1843 for the Herbert family, Mukross House witnessed an era of opulence and upheaval. Queen Victoria stayed here in 1861, sparking a flurry of renovations that nearly bankrupted the family. Today it's a place where you can explore Ireland's rich history, culture and natural beauty in one unique place.
We were just daydreaming that we were something like Downton-esque, dressed in our finery, walking down to the lake to take in the afternoon air on a lovely day like today.
Sadly, it's more likely that we would have been downstairs in the scullery.
We absolutely would have been servants.
The house stands close to the shores of Mukross Lake, Ireland's deepest lake, plunging to a depth of 75 metres. We only had time to tour the house and visit the lake, but there are also extensive gardens to explore, a craft centre and a restaurant. There are also 3 traditional working farms with schoolhouse, workshops, a forge, petting area and a playground.
Well, this has been fun, but it's very wet, so back to the car we go for the next stop on our Ring of Kerry itinerary. Let's hope the weather gets a little bit better.
On this stretch of the ring, there were lots of places to pull over and admire the view or have a picnic, like this stunning viewpoint at Upper Lake. And I'm making no apologies at all for including all these driving shots, because just look at how spectacular this drive is.
This is Ladies' View, so named by Queen Victoria's ladies-in-waiting during her 1861 visit to Ireland. But don't worry, gents are allowed here, and what a view it is. Ladies' View is down there.
Right.
So we're kind of cheating by being up here.
It's higher. The temptation to stop everywhere is almost overwhelming because the views just keep on giving on this drive. It might take us all week to do it at this rate. This is Mole's Gap and another gorgeous view back down the valley. Also, there's a lovely gift shop and restaurant. Mole's Gap got its name from the landlady called Mole, who ran a shebeen or small unlicensed tavern to serve up traditional Irish tipples to the men building the road. Park up and visit Avoca shop and cafe while you're here. They have a great selection of homeware, books, gifts and artisan food. The road is fairly narrow and not recommended for very large vehicles, but it is a beautiful mountain pass providing sensational views.
This is definitely one of the most scenic drives we've ever done.
It's beautiful. It's right up there with kind of like that, the Isle of Harris, drives like that we've done before. Pretty hungry now though.
Me too. Let's stop in Kenmare for some lunch.
I'm up for that.
We've stopped at Bean and Batch, which is just on the road to Kenmare as you pull in. We've got some delicious looking veggie sandwiches, which I'm very excited about because I am very hungry. So these are, I think, pear, pesto and feta, and they look and smell delicious. I'm very disappointed that you didn't take me up on my suggestion to buy a cake.
I thought you were joking.
Why would I be joking?
I don't know.
You know me better than that.
Always assume you're serious
I never joke
when
about
it comes to cake. Kenmare is the perfect stop en route for a spot of lunch or a coffee, or even a stroll around the many independent shops with the mountains creating a unique backdrop. We just loved all these traditional shop signs lining the streets. If you stop in Kenmare, be sure to walk 5 minutes from the high street up to Kenmare Stone Circle, which is a Bronze Age stone circle, one of the largest in Southwest Ireland, and be sure to write your little prayer or wish for the hawthorn fairy tree.
It's worth a visit to reflect on the history and to take a moment of personal quiet. Long-time viewers to our channel will, I'm sure, know who we wrote our wishes for, and even for an old cynic like me, I found this very comforting.
These wishes and prayers are obviously very private, but this one did tickle my fancy because they've asked for more public toilets, which I 100% agree with. There are so many things to see and do on the Ring of Kerry. It would be really hard to fit them all in, but we have been using a fantastic map and blog post from the IrishRoadTrip.com, which we will link below, because if you are planning your own trip to visit the Ring of Kerry, it is a really excellent resource that lists out all of the various places that you can go and visit, so you can make sure that you pick the ones that you most want to see. Fancy some driving tunes?
Sure do.
This route is definitely not recommended if you are towing a caravan. However, if you're in a motorhome, we have just driven through Scenic, and there was a beautiful looking motorhome and camper site called Goosey Island right on the water, which looked absolutely stunning. So if you're in a camper or a motorhome, definitely check that one out. This particular part of the road is very bouncy.
There are a few forts to visit on the Ring of Kerry. Located near Scenic, down a windy single-track road, is Skeleig Fort, one of the finest and largest examples of a ring fort in Ireland. There's a small car park, a public toilet, and an honesty box to contribute towards the upkeep of the fort.
This fort has walls 6 metres high and 4 metres thick, and it was built by a wealthy landowner here in Ireland before Christianity came here. And what a defensive position it has. Just look at that. They would have been able to see anything and anyone coming. Looks dark in there. Apparently these were habitations for Pictish slaves.
just going to climb up to my defensive positions to spot any marauders coming to maraud this castle. I'll not have them marauding around here. The coast is clear. You okay there? Come on. From up on the walls, there are breathtaking views of the Kerry landscape, and it's easy to see why this spot was chosen, as it offered both security and commanding views of the approaches.
I don't normally mind heights, but being so close to the edge and there being no barrier, it's giving me the heebie-jeebies a little
Health and
bit.
safety nightmare.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous, so rugged.
The true age and purpose of Skeleig Fort are still unknown. While some believe it was built between 400 and 600 AD, others suggest a Bronze Age origin. It may have served as a home to a chieftain or even as an astronomical observatory. Nearby copper mining indicates that it could have played a role in that industry too. Over time, it likely shifted from a place of worship to a defensive stronghold. Ultimately, the fort's full history remains a fascinating mystery.
If you're coming down to this beach in a camper or motorhome or tall vehicle, just beware of the height restrictions for the car park. The barrier is not across at the moment, so we were able to get in, but if this barrier had been across,
We might not have.
we might not have. Dozer would have loved this beach because he would have really enjoyed this soft sand. He did not like stony beaches. And actually, while I'm speaking of beaches, I believe this is my first beach in Ireland, but probably not yours.
Not my first beach in Ireland. No. First for a long, long time.
Yeah.
One of the favourite beaches I've been to in Ireland is in Donegal, called Five Finger Strand. Beautiful, really lovely big beach.
This one's pretty nice.
It's gorgeous. And the sun's shining.
Yay!
Yay!
Do it again.
I'm not doing it again.
Do it again.
No, not.
Do it again. Beautiful.
Because we never seem to come away in high season, it's always slightly out of season, we never visit these gorgeous beaches when they're at their warmest. But I can imagine on a beautiful, warm, sunny day, this beach would rival any, wouldn't it?
It is absolutely stunning.
Gorgeous.
And
soft
sand is so soft.
It's lovely, isn't it?
I don't see any fishies in these rock pools.
How'd all the fish manage to get out before the tide goes out?
I don't know.
They must know what's going on.
I love rock pooling. I love going rock pooling as a kid and looking for starfish and crabs.
Influencers in the wild. I spotted a YouTuber in the wild.
So team, I just want you to appreciate that this is the sort of footage that Mac takes of me, whereas this is the sort of epic footage that I take of him.
So I have this recurring nightmare. I'm letting you into a deep dark secret here, team. But I have this recurring nightmare that I'm stuck on a spit of land and there is sea on both sides and the tide is coming in and I get stuck and I drown. And we've just realised that there is sea over here and there is sea over here. So my nightmare has come true.
Let's hope not.
And the tide is coming in. So, yay.
We won't stick around for you to drown. There's also the ruins of an abbey here, so you get 2 ticks in one when you come to this beach.
I'm all about ticking the boxes.
We're going to head up there now. We're going to now take what is called the Skeleig Ring, which is a little detour off of the official Ring of Kerry, but that also looks really scenic, and it leads to Portmagee, which is where we are staying tonight.
And we have got ourselves booked for a delicious seafood dinner at the Moorings, so I'm very excited for that.
I'm actually quite hungry now.
Me too.
It's what, like 5:30?
Yep.
7:45 is dinner. A little way to wait yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get on the road.
Now clearly there's lots to see and do on the Ring of Kerry, but honestly what stands out is the driving. We've done our fair share of road trips over the years, but the Ring of Kerry stands out as having some of the best views and just an unforgettable driving experience. For added wow, please consider adding the Skeleig Ring to your plans. The raw, rugged Atlantic beauty will leave its mark on your trip. Trust us. After a day of exploring, we were starving, and based on some local recommendations, we went to the Moorings. Boy, we were glad we did. The food was delicious, hearty comfort food, and if you like seafood, this is the place to go, and of course you can't visit this part of Ireland without trying a seafood chowder. This seafood chowder was the best we've ever had. And if you're in need of accommodation, the Moorings also have some beautiful looking rooms.
Now, I don't know if we have just lost all sense of portion control on this trip, or if we are just over-ordering, or if the portions here are just enormous. But my eyes were definitely bigger than my belly, and I was defeated, although the food was absolutely delicious. The seafood chowder, oh my gosh, one of the best things I have ever eaten in my life, and the fish cakes, absolute perfection.
The next morning, we headed over the bridge at Portmagee to explore Valentia Island, one of Ireland's most westerly points. Unfortunately, the weather had other plans, but the views here, even in torrential rain, were beautiful.
I'm sheltering under the tailgate of the car because the weather is absolutely foul today, but we are so excited for what we're about to do. We've been really looking forward to this. A distillery tour of Skeleig 618 Distillery. We're going to taste some delicious whiskies and maybe even buy a few.
The visitor experience at Skeleig 618 is really unique, and our tour guide was a great storyteller, explaining the history and the myths of the area, the whisky and gin making process, and the story of Skeleig 618.
The winds that come from the Atlantic, they bring the salty air, they bring the dry wind in the summer, so the whisky is reacting with the wood.
Realistically, 70% of the colour and the flavour in the whisky comes in how it's matured.
You're invited to smell the casks and the ingredients in this fully immersive experience. This, of course, is followed by a tasting session of their single malt whisky or artisanal gin.
That 90% of Irish whisky does start life in a bourbon cask, and our European wood is there's a much stronger flavour to it, whereas the American White Virgin is a lovely light wood.
The whisky is matured in handcrafted oak bourbon barrels and is aromatic and velvety smooth.
If you smell it, you're going to get the smokiness there straight away. You're going to get the taste more at the back than at the top like the previous one, but that taste and that warmth, it lingers there, which is what you want from a day like today.
It's really smooth.
It was a Michelin
It's really nice.
They came up with it.
I think we might be going home with a bottle of this.
That was a really enjoyable tour, definitely worth a stop on your Ring of Kerry trip. Trish, our tour guide, was really knowledgeable. The exhibits and the way the tour is constructed really helps you understand the journey of whisky making and gin making. All rounded off, of course, with a little tasting, which was wonderful because you get to sample the fruits of their labour. Lovely little gift shop at the end as well, where of course you can buy a bottle or two, as we may have done. But that was a really good stop. We're really pleased we did that.
Parts of the Wild Atlantic Way overlap with the Ring of Kerry, and I've got to say it has definitely whetted our appetite to come back and travel the whole of the Wild Atlantic Way. We are definitely going to have to add that onto our travel bucket list.
The Wild Atlantic Way is a 1,600-mile route and one of the longest coastal routes in the world, from the Inishowen Peninsula in the north to the pretty town of Kinsale, County Cork in the south. Now, we've made a whole video about our trip to Kinsale, so definitely check that out.
Earlier in the video, I talked about the route not being particularly suitable for towing a caravan. However, on this northern half of the route, we have seen quite a few cars towing caravans, and we've even seen a couple of caravan sites. So it would seem that if you wanted to bring your caravan into Kerry, this would be the route to do it.
Although this isn't listed as a traditional stop on the Ring of Kerry, we have made a pit stop into the Kerry Bog Museum. Now, no, unfortunately, that's not a museum about toilets. It's actually a museum that gives an insight into rural life in Ireland in the 19th century and how people lived and worked. I think we're the only people in this entire museum.
So if you're wondering about what it's like to drive the Ring of Kerry, for the most part, it's been absolutely brilliant. The roads are really good. They do get very small at some points, which can be interesting if you are meeting an oncoming coach. The tour coaches tend to drive the Ring of Kerry anti-clockwise, and we have chosen to drive it clockwise. So there are two schools of thought there. If you drive the same direction as the coaches, you're not going to meet them coming head on a very narrow stretch. But if you do that, you may get stuck behind them as they travel around the ring. If you drive the opposite direction, of course, you won't get stuck behind them, but they may, you may come across them coming towards you on the narrow stretches. So it's a bit of a toss-up, really. But all in all, it's been a very, very enjoyable drive.
Well, we've come to the end of our trip around the Ring of Kerry, so here are a few thoughts.
Now, obviously, this is a road trip, and if you like road trips, this is a really good bite-sized way of tackling a great road trip in Ireland. If, for example, you want to do the Wild Atlantic Way, this gives you just a little taster of what it's like, and my goodness, it's amazing. The driving itself is great. Once you get a grip of the tiny roads in places, the actual drive itself is an experience in a very, very good way. We would also very much recommend adding the Skeleig Ring onto your itinerary.
There are so many stops on the Ring of Kerry that we managed to fit into this trip, so we'll definitely have to come back to check some more off of the list. The drive itself you could probably do in about 4 hours, but in order to take time to stop off and see everything that you want to do, you're probably going to need to put aside at least a day. Now, we would recommend taking 2 to 3 days, because that way you could spend perhaps 1 day in Killarney National Park, seeing some of the beautiful sights around there.
That would be nice.
And then 1 to 2 days on the Ring with an overnight stop.
For a more detailed overview, please check out our blog post. We're going to link that below. That will have way more information than we can cram into this short sum up.
Meanwhile, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on our next video.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.